Hello pretty peoples. KawaJapa no Kyodori desu. I am Kyodori from KawaJapa. In our last mini lesson we talked about the basic functions of the no particle. This time we're going to talk about what the textbooks call the nominalizing function, that is when no turns a phrase or a word into a noun. Let's take a very simple example. I told you that no fundamentally is equivalent to the English apostrophe s. Well, if we say Mary's hat is red and you reply Sakura's is blue, that's exactly the same in English and Japanese. In Japanese we would say Sakura no wa aoi, Sakura's is blue. So what's actually going on here? Sakura's is blue is actually short for something, isn't it? We mean Sakura's one is blue, Sakura's thing is blue, Sakura's hat is blue. So we are using a kind of pronoun here, but it's concealed. Sakura's is blue. Sakura's what? Well, we know from context that we're talking about hats and their color, so we know that what's meant here is Sakura's hat is blue. We could treat this, if we want to, as another zero pronoun. Sakura no zero ga aoi. And this, in fact, is just what the Japanese textbooks for Japanese children teach, that it's really short for Sakura no mono. I think it's better to say Sakura no zero, because that fits all cases more easily. So let's take a more complex example. Anime wo miru no ga tanoshii. Now this is what's really called nominalizing in the textbooks. We take anime wo miru, which is an activity, watching anime, and we're turning it into a noun, just as the phrase watching anime does in English. We can say, I like watching anime. Watching anime has become a noun, hasn't it? To watch anime is an activity, but watching anime, in the sense of I like watching anime, that's turned into a noun. Anime wo miru no does exactly the same thing. And what the textbooks tell you is that you have turned anime o miru into a noun, just as watching anime is a noun in English. And once again, that's not quite what's happening. We're trying to describe Japanese as if it were English. Actually, no is working as, or strictly concealing, a pronoun. We don't have to keep thinking anime no zero if we don't want to. But if we don't, we have to see that the pronoun is there. And the easiest way to see this is simply to remember that it is anime no zero, anime no something. So in this case, it's the thing of watching anime is fun. Structure of this sentence is zero ga tanoshii. Anime wo miru no is simply defining that zero pronoun and telling us more about it. Now this may seem like splitting hairs. We can just say, can't we, that anime wo miru no becomes a noun, like the English watching anime is fun. Watching anime has become a noun. But that isn't precisely how it's working, and the reason it's important to know that is not that it's going to cause any problems at this stage when you're dealing with very simple sentences, but that later on it may become much more complicated. Instead of saying watching anime is fun, we may be saying something like watching anime on a warm summer afternoon when the sun's just starting to go down and you've had a few drinks is fun. Now, in Japanese, all the rest of that sentence is going to go behind the no. All of it is going to be a modifier, a kind of adjective for the zero pronoun which is implied by the no. And if we understand that, it's going to be much easier to understand the sentence. We're going to be able to look at it and say, what is the subject of this sentence? What is the thing that's doing or being something? Well, here we have no ga tanoshii. So no is implying a zero pronoun, and that is the subject of the sentence. no ga tanoshii. Something is being fun. What is that something? Well, we'll look back at all this stuff sitting behind the no to find out. But when we know that, we know how the sentence is structured and we can easily work out what it all means. Please remember that the course book for this course of lessons is Unlocking Japanese. You can get it in paperback or electronic editions, and you'll find links in the information section below. If you have comments or questions, please ask them in the comments below, and I will answer. Thank you once again for attending this lesson. これからもよろしくお願いします. Class dismissed.